When it comes to growing your business, you need to make more sales, right? For more profits, you need to make more sales and help more people. And that's how you grow the business. It's just a simple numbers game. And the way of making more sales is by talking to more people. But if you don't have an engaging way of speaking to your prospects and getting them to understand that, one, they have a problem, and two, your solution is a solution that they want, and they want it right now, and you're not going to make sales. You're just going to be stuck having conversations that don't go anywhere, especially if you don't have the roadmap or the framework of taking those conversations ultimately to make the sale. And in this video, we're talking about how to make sure that you don't have any more boring conversations, how to make more phone calls, and therefore making more sales. Hey, it's Tom Jackobs. Thanks for stopping by the channel today. This channel is all about sales processes and helping the solo practitioner, the solopreneur, make more sales. And that's through the power of presentation to performance so that you get more profits in your business. So let's dive into no boring conversations, how to make more sales calls, and ultimately how to make more sales. Yeah, have you ever been on a road trip? You typically decide where you're going to go before you hop in the car and take that road trip, right? You just pop that into the GPS and it tells you how to get there. Well, unfortunately, a lot of people, when they get into a sales conversation, they don't have that roadmap. And many new and oftentimes experienced salespeople have this exact problem. They believe that sales is a one-way conversation, which technically is really a monologue. It's not even a conversation. So we're going to solve that by making sure that it becomes a dialogue, a conversation between two people, because that's ultimately what's going to help you make the sale, is when you really listen and you respond appropriately to your prospect and take them on this road trip to the ultimate, which is buying your product and service. Certainly when I first started in sales, I would just kind of ramble on about the benefits of the product, and quite frankly, I wasn't very successful at it. And many years later, when I opened up my fitness business and I did the same thing, I made the same mistake over and over again, and finally I realized I needed to get help, and I found that process of actually selling. My first real sales job was selling knives, Cutco knives to be specific. And I was in college, and I was looking for a summer job, and in the newspaper, yes, there was a newspaper, and yes, that's where we looked for jobs back then. There was an ad for $15 an hour, and way back then, a few years ago, 30 years ago, $15 an hour was a pretty good wage. I was like, heck yeah, $15 an hour, make your own time. I was like, yes, this sounds like the perfect job for me. So I asked for the interview, I got the interview, and I go there and I realized after they started talking that it was a sales job. And I was like, oh, I'm not quite sure, but I had no other prospects, so I was like, yes, I'll dive in. Now, the really great thing about Cutco Knives and the marketing company that taught us the sales techniques is that they had a great training program, and they took us through the process of making sales, which I thought was just brilliant. And they also realized, because they guaranteed $15 an hour if you did 20 sales calls a week, 20 plus sales calls a week, because they realized the more sales calls that you're going to do, the better chance that you're going to make that commission, and then they won't even have to pay out the $15. That was kind of the guarantee if you did this. Now, I didn't really do it. I tried really hard to get to that 20 a week, but ultimately I didn't, because I didn't have the network, because we had to find our own leads. Now, there was one other salesperson there that was really quite impressive. She was actually quite a bit older than most of us that were there in our 20s. I think she was like in her 40s, and she was an ex-nun, Catholic nun, which is, I don't think there's any other nuns, are there? Anyway, I was like, oh my gosh, a nun is now selling knives, and that's really quite interesting. And she was really good at selling. And the reason that she was really good at selling is because she understood how to have a conversation with people and ask them what the problem is, and solving the problem with really great cutlery. And by the way, Cutco is really great. I still have my sample set from 30 years ago, and it's just as sharp as it was back then. It's pretty amazing. But she understood how to have a conversation with people and letting them know that this would be the last set of cutlery they would ever buy. And I think it came from her being a nun. She just was really good at listening to the prospect and having a really good conversation with them rather than just talking over or talking through or just kind of pushing something down somebody's throat, which never works really well, especially in sales when you want to do sales for the long term. And I remember she was really good. And now looking back at that experience, I totally understand why she was so successful at sales. Because she did the reps. She worked the system. She talked to 20 to 30, sometimes 40 people in a week. And she was the top performer week after week after week. Now I remember this one sales meeting. We always had sales meetings on Monday nights at 6 o'clock. And we would all go into this little conference room and talk about sales, of course, and they would do the training. And they would always highlight one of the salespeople. Well, that week they highlighted her. And she got up there and she was really excited. And she was really excited because she bought her first car, brand new car with cash. Not finance, but bought her first brand new car with cash. And she was actually in tears while she was telling her story because the transformation that she went through from being just kind of reserved and not being really confident to being extremely confident now, but never losing that piece of her that was really good listener and really good at having a conversation with prospects. And ultimately, that's what made her successful, is that she really listened to understand what the problem was and then fit the solution to the problem. Not only that, but she put in the work. Because Cutco knew if you do a certain number of sales presentations in a week, not only are you going to make your quota, but you're also going to get better and better and better. It's not just a linear progression, but it's rather exponential. The more sales calls that you do, the better you're going to get at it. It really is more of a numbers game than most people think. Now, I tell you this story so that you really understand that it's not about special sales techniques. It's not about being super outgoing or an extrovert. In fact, I'm an introvert by nature. It's about the conversation, it's about the system, and it's about doing the work. And ultimately, you're listening for the problem that the prospect has, and you're solving that problem for them. It's really that simple. Now, I've put together another video for you, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. It's an add-on to this video because it's all about how to add story to your sales conversations so that you don't have any more boring sales conversations, and you really illustrate the way that your product or service solves a problem through the power of story. So go ahead and check that video out right now, and until next time, you have a great day.